Edward Leos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the hotel guide publisher, Edward Leos.
Good morning, everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Man, I'm really excited about today's episode with Jen Halboth with Riverside Cruises, CEO for the company. How are you doing, Jen?
I'm doing amazing, Ed. How are you doing? Happy Friday.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Happy to have you on the podcast. I've heard some great things about not just you, but also about the cruise line and what you have going on. So I'm hoping our guests are going to get to find out a little bit more about Riverside Cruises and yourself. But as I like to do with all of my guests, people want to know, hey, who are you talking to, Edward? So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got to where you are now at Riverside, and then we'll kind of jump into some of the business stuff and some other fun questions.
Sounds great. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been in the river cruise space for 22, almost 23 years now. I was with the Globus family of brands for 19 years. So touring and river cruise, I was in the national account role there. And, as luck would have it, it kind of was, a gentleman who previously worked at Avalon on the operations side, parted ways with Avalon during COVID, started doing consulting for the parent company of Riverside, which is actually Seaside Collection Hotels. Mm-hmm. It's a family-run business. They own 10 hotels in Europe, one almost 6-star property, the Fonolu in the Maldives, pretty great. And my name got thrown in the hat, and I went for it, and here we are, right? I was her first hire 2.5 years ago in September of 22. We got our first ship in the water in 23, and we're moving forward in this amazing space, which is not easy to do because there's a lot of amazing brands that are already out there.
No, definitely. And again, there's been such great things that I've been hearing about Riverside Cruises and what you are doing. So why don't you tell us a little bit, or tell our audience a little bit about Riverside, kind of what it is, what separates you from everybody else, and then anything big coming online for the rest of the year into next year.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you guys probably, everyone knows that we got the 5 former Crystal ships, right? So that's the hardware story, but it's just the start. So, the owner really knows luxury, hospitality, liked the, kind of the similarities between maybe a hotel client and someone who would come on a river cruise, and really did identify that true luxury was kind of a gap in the river cruise space. Again, I said all the lines do an amazing job. So we got these beautiful ships, and then we've kind of overlaid all the, Riverside software, which is really authentic, engaging, friendly, but very attentive service. Obviously, beautiful ships with the larger, suites, and the culinary. I mean, the culinary is where we differentiate. And now it's like, of course, I was saying it for 2.5 years, but, Cruise Critic gave us, the best dining on the rivers, our first 2 years of operating. Everyone who gets off is like, okay, next level, best, meal I've had on a cruise, not just a river cruise.
Yeah.
And servers are great. So that's, we're really just differentiating at that higher level. At the end of the day, I don't think we're really in competition, say with premium operators. And I think we're even, distancing ourselves at that top end.
Yeah. I think that's great. I always like to hear stuff like that. But tell me the importance of experiential travel for your guests nowadays, and kind of what that means to your guests. I know you're talking about the culinary experience. I'm definitely a foodie myself. So I would great food I rave about. And so that's one big thing for me too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, it's on ship and on land, right? So it's the whole package. You can buy completely all inclusive with us, and, get your shore excursions included. But when you're targeting the luxury traveler, they're really savvy, and they kind of want what they want. So I know sometimes advisors are like, why do you have 4 levels of pricing? Because we do. Because at the end of the day, some luxury travelers come to us and say, I don't want to do group tours. I'm going to go explore more on my own, or maybe I want to arrange some private. So you can price it without. So we are really about flexibility at Riverside, right? We want to deliver the cruise exactly as the client wants, and not just say, oh, we have one price and you get everything, whether you like it or not. And so I know it's an added nuance, but I think in time we've gotten advisors to really see the value in that. Lead with that all-inclusive, of course. But if you can remove a barrier to sale to still get the sale, then by all means. And, we offer great excursions. You get to do either a more traditional walking tour, something more immersive, something more active.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think what really, separates us and what I continue to hear is the crew on board. The crew and culinary really are, what people go, wow, this is another level. This is, the level. And because we want to attract that luxury traveler who's hesitant to give River Cruise a try.
Yeah.
We understand that a lot of River Cruise clients right now are really happy with the brand they're traveling on. And you know what? You as an advisor, like, you don't need to, we're not asking you to push someone off one brand to us. That doesn't really help you grow your business. We really want to get those luxury ocean clients, those luxury FIT clients. And I think for them, like the food's got to be, paramount. It really is.
No, definitely. So the culinary aspect I know is important. So you talked about the hospitality side of things. A little off topic, but on topic. Tell me how you as the leader of the company can really focus and hone in on hospitality and just across the board. How important is that to you and for your guests?
Yeah, it is, I like to say we want to personalize and work with you as a partner the same way we want to do that on board for, our guests, your clients. I mean, and with my team, we're a pretty unique team. We're a team of 12 now in North America. All of my sales directors have very different backgrounds coming in. I really encourage them to be their authentic selves, right? Transparency, honesty, are big. When I'm hiring people, my 3 words are kind, collaborative, and cool, right? Like, we want people to enjoy doing business with us, and we want people to feel the same way we make your guests, your clients feel on board doing business with us. So it really is kind of down through our DNA here in North America. And, my team, I love working with them. They're just wonderful. And I hear from advisors all the time, we love your team. And we saw Kelly here, we saw Matt here. And, that's to break through. I mean, these other brands, have these wonderful sales teams. People have been at it forever, but, we're standing out in our own little unique way.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. Like I said, our magazine's been around for 32 years, and you got to go with the flow and kind of make things happen. Also being a leadership coach myself, it's really important hearing some of your philosophies on how you move the needle with your staff, and especially in the hiring process. People don't understand sometimes the importance of hiring the right people, particularly in a hospitality organization. Do you agree?
Yes. And because I think at times we're like, well, have you done this, this, and that? It's like, you know what, in our space, I like to hire for attitude and, more so than you've done the exact job. Because what is an exact job? I mean, at the end of the day, I would hope that our jobs continue to evolve. So, it's kind of nice to have someone come in. Like, example is Ian. So Ian is our Northeast sales director. He has never done this traditional, sales director BDM job. He has lots of sales experience, but he's a sommelier and he's bilingual and he's got a great attitude. So, it's really, about hiring the person that really fits, because we're all going to learn how to do our job, or hopefully push our jobs to be different.
Sure. Yeah, I love the attitude there with regards to the hiring process, which is, again, it separates you apart from other organizations, which is incredible. So let's switch a little bit from the business side and let's get to the personal. Some of my favorite questions I like to ask all of my guests since we are a travel podcast. But what are some of your favorite travel destinations that you have been to?
Okay. So, I mean, when I was on the land side, I went to Rome, and I have to say, I have a goal to come back someday with like empty suitcases and just like shop and eat my way through Rome. So I think for me, to be in a big city, but like I really did have that feeling as I'm walking around of like the sense of history, but in a major city. Other major cities I love is, Budapest. I love the ruined bar area. I just think it's such a, cool, fun, relaxed, hospitable city. Yeah. When it comes to rivers, I think a lot of people haven't been on or haven't looked at the Moselle, tomato, tomato. It's a smaller river that obviously comes into the Rhine at, Koblenz, what they call the German corner. But when you're on the Moselle, you already feel river cruising was intimate, but you almost feel like you could just walk to the shores right there. And a lot of people don't realize you go through some of the oldest, like Trier's the oldest town in Germany, who knew? But you get into these towns that this is what's great about river cruise. you get to places you would never put on your bucket list because you don't even know they're there. And so I love that sense that River Cruise can help you be adventurous when you didn't even know you wanted to be or were planning to be. And so that's why I encourage people to get, because they just don't know. They might know Cologne or Amsterdam or Basel, obviously, but it's all the little towns in between that really, I think, lend to exploration that is really difficult to do other ways.
That's a great point that you're making there. And you're great in transitioning into the next question and segue on bucket list. But I love what you're saying about the river cruises. I didn't think about that at all. But the tours that you have, I looked at them and, they're in places where you're like, okay, that's great. But now you're talking about all the little nuances and little towns that are around there. That makes for a very immersive experience for people. So great job on that.
And they come back, like we have a couple of itineraries that include Maastricht in the Netherlands. It is the cutest town. People get there and they love the town, they love the shopping, they love the energy. And it's like, I'm sorry, how many people, I mean, even us in the space know Maastricht, Netherlands, right? Correct. It's just, but I love watching it unfold. Here's my favorite thing about being on a river cruise, especially with people who have not done it before. Just watching their excitement, their discovery unfold. They like, oh my God, I just didn't know, or I love that excursion, or like that dinner last night, or I love this spot on the ship. They're just walking around like kids, right? And just, just eyes full of wonder and excitement. And it just unfolds and gets better throughout the week. And then they love the crew. They get so close to the crew so quickly. And that is just something really special you do not get in any other style. I will say, even like the highest end, most boutique hotel, you are not going to get that kind of intimate experience with the people that are serving you and taking care of you. And they are taking care of you and they love it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And so that you're transitioning Riverside Cruises on my bucket list. So let me ask you about your bucket list. What are some of your bucket list travel spots?
Well, Patagonia. I've never been to Patagonia. I know it's a far trip, right? So, but then even just like more domestically, like I've never been to Glacier National Park. I love national parks. I'm telling you, I'm kind of old school. I love a good old road trip. My son and I drive back to Michigan every year. We'll do it again this year. My family's there. We go back for 4th of July because 4th of July in Michigan is the best. So, there's just so many places I haven't been in the United States that are, on my list for sure. But, for me, I actually did a podcast yesterday. It's a weird thing. I might have a weird vantage point on travel versus others. For me, it really is less about the destination and more about the people I'm with and the experiences that unfold while I'm there. You know what I would love to do? I want to see concerts in Europe. I'm a huge live music fan. I live 15 minutes from Red Rocks, which if there's any music lovers listening, if you've not been to Red Rocks, it is the reason it's like the #1 venue. It is remarkable. I'm going there on Sunday. So I would love to see concerts in Europe. I've actually tried a couple of times and missed it by like a day. Like I took my son on a river cruise and Biba Doobie was playing in Cologne. And literally we left the day before and I was like, oh God, if I could have given them that experience. I'm really about those kind of one-off ad hoc. I didn't know I was going to do this experiences. And so, it's kind of like, going with different people and just, having an adventure.
Well, I think that's one of the big things. I think experiential travel in general is just going next level. And I think that's post-pandemic. People are more like, I want to experience not just, the nice hotels and, great food. It's just about what are you doing in the space? How do I bring that space back with me home? And actually, a lot of people are saying transformative travel is what can I do for that community and make it better for me for being there. So I think you guys are hitting it all on the points right there. So as always, our time goes by so fast. And I know,
geez, we just started.
We just started. But here's my thing. We definitely could do another podcast. I know you're a wealth of information and stuff like that as well. So I'd be excited to have you back. But what's the best way for our guests or listeners to find you and find Riverside Cruises information?
So riverside-cruises.com. That's our website. I will say I'm very transparent. It isn't the best website, but our product is the best product. So obviously, go poke around there, work with your travel advisor, obviously. And I think it's really about people. Like for us, I love, when, travel advisors work with our sales directors,
Yeah.
we really personalize the relationship. We want to lean into the things you do, the ways you want to support your clients. That's very important to us. So
that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know we're going to have you back on at some point.
excellent.
Your energy is infectious, and so we're excited to hear more about that. But thank you for being on the Travel Talk today.
Oh, thank you so much, Ed. You have a great weekend.
It's going to be amazing. To all of our listeners and readers and followers out there, you know the drill, thehotelguide.com. Also, Riverside Cruises, we'll have the domain name in our meeting notes underneath as well. But please like, subscribe, follow, share this great information here by Jen and what they're doing at Riverside. Just some amazing things. But as I like to always say, travel, make memories. And until next time, take care.